He was 66 years old, healthy, active, full of life. But in bed, he couldn't last more than 90 seconds. Every night ended with the same gentle apology, and his wife would just smile. But the silence between them grew deeper with each passing time. He no longer felt like a man. And if you're silently facing the same thing, you need to hear this. A simple breathing technique backed by neuroscientists is changing everything in just a few minutes a day. And I'm going to share it with you in detail. Right now. Richard didn't used to have this problem. In his 30s and 40s, intimacy felt effortless. He and his wife would laugh, connect, and enjoy each other without pressure. But somewhere in his early 60s, things began to shift. Subtle at first, he noticed he wasn't lasting as long. A little less control. A little less confidence. Then it got worse. He started finishing too soon. Sometimes before his wife could even fully engage. And after each time, he'd lie there heart pounding, skin flushed, but mind filled with shame. He'd murmur an apology. She'd kiss him on the shoulder and say, "It's okay." But deep down, he knew it wasn't okay. The hardest part wasn't the physical failure. It was the silence afterward. The awkwardness. The distance that grew with every attempt. He avoided initiating. She stopped expecting. They still loved each other deeply. But something vital had quietly begun to disappear. And here's the part no one talks about. When a man loses control in bed, it's not just about sex. It's about manhood, identity, and the quiet fear that maybe it's never coming back. Richard didn't talk to anyone about it. Not even his doctor. He thought, maybe this is just part of aging. Maybe I have to accept it. But deep down, he still hoped for a way back. A way to regain even a part of the confidence he once had. One night, after another failed attempt, he stayed up late scrolling on his phone. That's when he stumbled on a medical article from Stanford University. It wasn't about medication or pills. It wasn't some miracle food or supplement. It was about breathing. Specifically, a breathing method used by Navy SEALs, therapists, and surprisingly, men struggling with performance issues. The article explained how controlled breathing could regulate the nervous system, reduce overstimulation, and restore control in the bedroom. It sounded strange. Breathing. Really? Could it really make that much of a difference? But Richard was desperate. And it was free. No side effects. Nothing to lose. So the next morning, he tried it. What happened next wasn't instant magic, but it was the first spark of hope Richard had felt in years. He followed a pattern called box breathing 4 seconds in. Hold for 4 seconds. 4 seconds out. Hold again. Simple. Calming. Almost meditative. The article said to do it twice a day, especially before intimacy. After a week, Richard noticed something. He felt calmer. His heart didn't race the moment things began. He didn't panic, anticipating failure. And on the 10th day, for the first time in a long time, he didn't finish too soon. He felt in control, present, connected. And afterward, he didn't feel the need to apologize. His wife noticed the difference too. Not just in bed, but in the way he walked, talked, and smiled. That quiet confidence had begun to return. And it all started with a simple shift in breath. What Richard didn't realize at first was that his problem wasn't just in his head. It was in his nervous system. As men age, their bodies undergo quiet but powerful changes. Testosterone levels drop. Blood vessels lose flexibility. But there's another shift that often gets ignored. The balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, the systems that control stress and relaxation. You see, performance in the bedroom is not just about arousal. It's about control. And control comes from the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and respond system. But when a man is anxious, worried he might finish too soon, afraid of disappointing his partner, his body activates the sympathetic system, the fight-or-flight response. Heart rate spikes. Breathing becomes shallow. Muscles tense up. Blood rushes to the wrong places. And the brain becomes hyperstimulated. The result? He finishes before he ever wanted to. And the cruel irony: the more you worry about finishing too soon, the sooner you do. Richard was unknowingly stuck in this loop. Each failed attempt reinforced the fear. And each fear made the next moment worse. That's where breathing comes in. According to Dr. Andrew Weil, a pioneer in integrative medicine, conscious breathing is the fastest way to activate the parasympathetic system and calm the overstimulated mind. When you breathe deeply and rhythmically, you send a powerful message to your brain. You are safe. You are in control. This isn't spiritual fluff. It's biology. In a 2017 study published in Frontiers in Psychology, researchers found that slow-paced breathing, about 6 breaths per minute, significantly reduced anxiety and improved autonomic nervous system function even in older adults. That's why elite athletes, soldiers, even trauma patients are trained to use breathing before performance. And now, men like Richard are using it before intimacy and reclaiming their confidence. He kept his new ritual simple. Each night before getting into bed, he'd dim the lights, sit quietly, and do 5 minutes of box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. He didn't think of it as therapy or training. He thought of it as resetting his body, dialing down the noise, slowing the racing thoughts, returning to the present moment. And that's the secret no one tells men after 60. It's not about lasting longer, it's about calming the chaos inside. With each passing week, Richard felt more like himself again. He wasn't chasing some fantasy of being 25 again. He just wanted to feel steady, connected, in control. And for the first time in years, he did. What surprised Richard most wasn't just how he felt, but how his wife responded. At first, she said nothing. But after a few weeks, she gently placed her hand on his chest one night and said, "I feel like you're back." Like you are back. That hit Richard harder than any compliment. Not because it was about sex, but because it was about presence. He wasn't disappearing into embarrassment anymore. He wasn't making excuses or turning away. He was there emotionally, physically, spiritually, and she felt it. They started having deeper conversations again. They laughed more, touched more, not because they were trying to fix something, but because something had already begun to heal. And that's what most men don't realize. Fixing your performance isn't just about you. It's about the connection you share with the person you love. The breathing practice had become more than just a trick. It became a symbol, a quiet commitment to show up fully, to take back control from fear, to be present. And for Richard, that meant everything. He didn't need pills. He didn't chase porn advice or risky supplements. He didn't try to act younger than he was. He simply gave his nervous system what it needed: peace, regulation, rhythm. Backed by science. In 2020, a study from the International Journal of Impotence Research found that performance anxiety, not physical dysfunction, was the primary cause of premature ejaculation in over 60% of cases among men aged 60-75. That's why techniques like slow breathing, pelvic floor relaxation, and mindful awareness are now being used by leading clinics around the world. They're not quick fixes. They're long-term tools for men who want real control, without side effects. For Richard, it wasn't just about lasting longer. It was about reclaiming what had quietly slipped away over the years. His presence, his confidence, his connection to his wife. And that's when he decided to share his story, hoping maybe, just maybe, some other man out there was silently going through the same thing. Because when you've lost that spark, and finally find a way to reignite it, you can't keep it to yourself. If you've ever felt that quiet ache of shame, that fear of not being enough anymore, that growing distance between you and your partner, just remember what Richard learned. Your body isn't broken. You're not too old. And it's never too late to take control back one breath at a time. So, what can we take away from Richard's story? It's not just about breathing. It's not even just about performance. It's about what happens when a man chooses to stop running from the problem and instead gently turns toward it. too often. We believe the only way to fix things is through pills, surgery, or some expensive solution promising instant results. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Because when you learn how to calm your nervous system, when you take back control of your breath, you take back control of your body, your confidence, your connection. And this doesn't require being 30 again. It doesn't require six-pack abs or chasing fantasies. It just requires a willingness to breathe slowly, intentionally, with presence. If you're over 60 and silently struggling to last, you're not broken. You're not alone. And you don't need to suffer in shame anymore. Here's what you can start doing today. Try box breathing just 5 minutes a day. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again. Do this morning and night, and especially before intimacy. Talk to your body, not against it. Your body wants to help you. It just needs a signal of safety. Know that change is possible. Not overnight. Not perfectly. But powerfully. When you stay consistent, you don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to explain anything. But I hope you take this quiet practice and try it. Not just for performance, but for peace. Because every man deserves to feel whole again. To feel like himself again. And sometimes, it all begins with one breath. If this message resonated with you, please consider liking this video, leaving a comment, or sharing it with someone you care about. You never know who might be silently struggling. And your small action might be the lifeline they need. And if you'd like more natural, science-backed advice on intimacy, energy, and men's health after 60, subscribe for more stories, more tools, and more hope. Your journey doesn't end here. In fact, it may just be beginning.